Cool.
Second
Right.
wasn't great.
Ready. And 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to All I Do Is Fail. I'm your host, Tom Elwes. I'm joined as ever by my co-host and regular guest, Ali Woods.
Yes. Hello, listeners. Thank you very much for having me, Tom, again. How are you doing, Tom, today? You okay?
I'm good.
This is the the second episode we have with the banging music, the banging new intro.
Oh, yeah. For our listeners, you probably all enjoyed that. Thank you, friend of the show, Matt Hutchinson, for sorting us out with banging tunes.
Friend of the show. Very much
Yeah.
good. Good comedian as well as a great
Yeah.
DJ. Check him out, Matt Hutchinson,
And also-
on social at HutchUp.
And a great doctor. So.
Great. Well, I mean, I couldn't really say until he operates on me. But Matt, if you want to give it a go, let's take out a kidney. The other thing as well is that he is our second/first episode of
All I Do Is Fail. Yeah. Well, first. We'll leave it.
the first episode.
First episode of All I Do Is Fail. What a man. So we'd like to thank him for that.
Thank you for being a beats.
Also, for all of you who have been enjoying us, our mugs on your computer screens and phones, thank you very much. All the likes have been rolling in and we appreciate it very much.
Yeah, keep liking us. And also you can subscribe to our YouTube channel now. We're actually putting videos on there for a change. We've had it for about 8 months with no videos to build the hype. It resulted in 0 subscribers. And and now we've got some videos on there so you can watch us talk as well.
When we first started this, we were uploading things and we were like, there was like maybe 2 or 3 people would listen and we were just always, who are you? If you were the very first listener, if you've been with ADIF since day one, please write in.
Because it wasn't either of us. We wouldn't listen to this shit.
I started listening about season 2, really. That's when I really got into it. All right, guys, we are joined today by the fantastic, and for the second time, Mr. Pope Lonergan.
Yes, hello, fellas.
So, should we tell the story to the listeners of the
failed?
fail.
So here's a quick fail for you.
From us, not from Pope.
Not from Pope. Pope was amazing, but we tried to record an episode with Pope probably about a year ago, or maybe a bit less, and one of our mics cut out, and it was, couldn't use it. I had to scrap it. So he's back, and we're very happy to have him back. He's back after his amazing run at the Vaults Festival, 4 stars in the Evening Standard for Pope Lonergan. Addiction Clinic.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll clap myself there.
Pope's like, I am actually very special.
I am wonderful. So,
how did you find getting that great review there? Do you want to tell us a bit about Addiction Clinic before we start?
Pope's Addiction Clinic, the format is an AA-style comedy show, quite confessional. People talk about trauma or addiction or whatever it is. Quite an intimate space, sort of campfire confessional. That's the kind of vibe we want to go for. And we had 4 stars in Vault Festival, and Bruce mentioned a bit in it where he talked about me being addicted to books about the Hawaiian judicial system.
Right.
But then I'd done an anecdote about smoking crack cocaine and being forced to dip my hand in a man's diabetic ulcer. And he didn't include that. Asked him why, and he said the Evening Standard demographic isn't really crack smoking wound dippers. So
Well, who reads it?
I know.
I mean, they're missing the market, and that's why they're fucking free.
I mean, to get it in the Evening Standard is honestly huge because it's probably one of the most widely syndicated due to the way it's distributed. Newspapers in the country. I mean, it's massive.
No, it was really nice, and it was really I couldn't have asked for a kind of a better write-up. Really, it was really nice. And stuff.
Do you think you're going to take it up to Edinburgh?
Yes. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed. I will be taking it up to Edinburgh. I've already doing a run of it at Brighton Fringe.
Amazing.
As like the lead up to Edinburgh, and then hopefully at Edinburgh Fringe. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, we're very, very happy to have you back, Pope. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah. So, shall we switch the microphone on now? Or?
Yeah. Right, guys, we are going to move on, as we always do, to the first section of All I Do Is Fail, and that is the news. It's so weak not having any posting with the camera.
We need to just do a supercut of all of these
awkward
20 seconds.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, not now, but for future. Right, our first story of All I Do Is Fail news is the Harry Styles face tattoo. This is a fail on 2 fronts, okay? First fail is that a girl said she got a Harry Styles face tattoo, right? So they obviously went viral because there's a hideous tattoo on a face. Definitely can't see that. I'll do it in post.
I'm looking at it now. So for listeners, it is. So I was wondering whether she got like a mask of Harry Styles tattoo. I was like, yeah, that's what I was like. So she wants to look in the mirror and see Harry Styles.
No,
it's not that.
It's on the cheek there. It's on the cheek there. Just Harry Styles' face. That's what it is. Right? Yeah. No, it's not. She doesn't want to actually look like Harry Styles.
I was like, come on, you're not going to look like that.
I've actually got a tattoo fail. I've got like these like horrible grimy. I've got a few tats that are pretty good, and then I've got horrible grimy prison tats. And one of them there, so they were like spur of the moment. My mate was just using me as like a potato to practice tattooing. Basically, I wanted him to make
good
me,
friend of yours.
Yeah.
Were you asleep at the time?
But he was using me as like a toilet door, like with graffiti.
So you're described as a potato. Oh no, that's not fair. It was more of a toilet door.
More of a disgusting fucking toilet door. Anyway, so I've got one there, and because I'm a drug addict who loved painkillers, I've got the word tablets there. I've got the word tablets.
Yeah,
I like.
And not to do with like iPads or anything.
No. I love tablets and pills.
Yeah.
And I've got one there, and it's like a crude drawing of a dog with tits. And then,
that is very toilet door. In fairness.
Honestly, your Edinburgh poster, Pope Lonergan, toilet door. What a quote. Yeah.
And then it's got the words Makshavod Zarat, which is a Hasidic concept of alien thought. So they say when they have an alien thought, like a sexual thought or a taboo thought, rather than trying to purge it or expel it, they lean into it and really analyse that alien thought. And so my alien thought was a dog with tits.
Dog with tits.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Is that symbolic for something? Or
no, not in the slightest. There's no meaning or symbolism. It's utterly pointless and made my mum cry. So,
the tit dog. That's
Okay, but you don't have a Harry Styles face on your face, at least.
Yeah, nothing on your face. You're wearing a jacket now. We can't tell you have any of this.
You're wearing a jacket, Pope. Are you ready to leave?
Yeah, I'm off.
Pope's not very trusting.
Yeah. So this is a fair on two fronts, okay? Because this is some classic internet bullshit. Okay, so she got the Harry Styles, took a photo of it. It goes viral. Everyone's looking at it.
I must say, this girl is very pretty.
Yeah, she's a very pretty girl.
I mean,
but this is when it's going to annoy you, Ali. Okay, because it turns out that the Harry Styles face tattoo is not real. It was a fake, and it was a PR stunt. It was a PR stunt for her music career, and obviously drove loads of people to her Instagram and YouTube channels. So what I'm trying to say is, Ali, we are gonna.
Okay, I'll do it. Fine. It's always gonna be me, isn't it? Tom's too pretty. Right.
Ali was.
So live on air, right? Mooch, come on, do it. You got the pen, haven't you?
Ali says he's gonna do an Eddie Murphy on his forehead. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get Eddie Murphy on Ali's forehead.
Doing an Eddie Murphy sounds something else, mate. Oh God. Okay, yeah, right. That's really annoying from her. That is, and her team or whatever.
I'm actually more annoyed that it was fake. I think I would respect her more if she had fell out and done it.
Yeah, that kind of insanity where she's like absolutely desecrating her face. I'd be like, yeah, good. I admire your moxie.
Yeah.
But
That's the first use of moxie. All I do is fail.
This is the most educated podcast I think we've had.
But Pope is the classic mix of very eloquent, articulate, and also then we'll drop. Because I'm a drug addict who shit himself in the ditch somewhere. Because that's what I was saying about the fact that she was pretty. I was like, that is a testament to the fandom of Harry Styles, because you obviously get people who are like insanely into a celebrity or someone like that on all walks of life, but they're always some like very strange person who's got the whole room like kitted out. I'm thinking Alan Partridge style, that episode where the guys loves Alan Partridge and slightly David Copperfield. But that sort of thing. But she just seemed like a kind of normal person who'd done it. And I was like, well, Harry Styles, I mean, congratulations. That is. But obviously not interested at all.
Were you guys ever part of it, any kind of like fandom or anything? Is there anything you followed when you were younger that you got a bit obsessive about?
I love Pokemon. Yeah. But not. I used to sleep with a Pikachu, stuffed Pikachu. Not like just kind of.
I used to fuck and stuff.
It was really annoying because I always had babes round. God, Pikachu, stop cramming my stuff. Sweeping up
when Ali has girls around now, he has to be like, sorry, I just put this on there. Kisses him like, I'm sorry.
I've just unscrewed a Pikachu from my penis.
Oh God. Pikachu. But yeah, no, I had that, but that was probably the closest I got.
I was big into, all of it. Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Beyblades. I'll probably play with Beyblades now if they were around.
Mate, you know what? We should do a live Beyblades.
Beyblade tournament. Get that going.
Let it rip.
Let it rip. With the extra long, what do you call it? Tamagotchis.
Oh yeah,
Tamagotchis.
Pope was looking at us like, what on earth is
Yeah.
Beyblade?
What are these?
Oh, they're like fighting spinning tops.
No, I remember we're sort of same age, aren't we? So
yeah.
I think I remember all the rest, but I don't remember the blades.
Oh,
I don't
God.
remember them.
Tamagotchis got banned at our school. There's always a kid who died in a playground fad, and because some kid died at the hands of his own Tamagotchi. The irony of you dying looking after a Tamagotchi is
just he's going, go on without me, just charging it. But that's the thing, because stuff always got banned at school, right? Whatever the fad was always got banned. Within like a month or two, would always get banned. And you always thought, this is ridiculous, health and safety gone mad. It's just Pokemon cards. Or but some kid was crying, blah, blah, blah. But with the spinning blades of death, I think that was fair enough. Beyblades where you literally had to spin it as fast as you could, and the edges were gilted with like metal in order to bash each other.
To be honest, though, I feel like it's natural selection. If you die at the hands of a yo-yo, good. I feel like, like, I think, if you're the kid who does it, but rather that than you grow up to be like a plane engineer or something, like,
kill him off early.
Natural selection.
If you don't get killed by a yo-yo, you probably are going to end up a plane engineer.
Basically, give all the kids yo-yos and kill them off early. The ones who die from the yo-yo, they're the ones who shouldn't go into the professional realm. They're the ones who shouldn't grow old.
That's what I'm saying. Natural selection, yo-yo trials.
Just love the idea of this teacher handing out a box of yo-yos and then sitting down and just watching.
Just really tense, like a couple of them are going to be killed off.
Come on, Jason, I know you're an idiot. Come on, do it.
You put Lego up your butt.
Really praying for the arsehole kid to be the one that dies.
Right, so we've solved how to get rid of thick people already. That's good. That's good stuff.
Wait, so what about yourself? Were you ever, when you were a teenager, younger, whatever?
I was obsessive with everything and anything. And I remember having, I was 8 years old and I watched the program Friends for the first time.
Wow.
Heard of it?
I actually had a book that was like an itemization of every object in Monica's flat.
That is insane.
Like just in case that came up in conversation, like what wasn't the like, and then I could brag like, excuse me, I've got that information. Like,
it was like, how was your weekend? It was really annoying because I was just thinking, what is the third item on the left from the desk?
Did it ever come up?
No, it never came up. It's the accumulation of knowledge. That's where it was. And I remember I had to have a so like when I became like a real hoarder. And I'd hoard the Guardian newspaper, right? And I was like, because I'd read all of their newspapers, and that was a visual manifestation of the knowledge I'd accumulated. I had this like Leaning Tower of Pisa of Guardians.
Where's that, in your room?
Yeah, it's in my room, and it's become like a real like problem. And then the guy who fixed...
I'm not going to lie, Pope. Very middle class issue to have.
Yeah.
What are we going to do with this boy? He's got too many copies of The Guardian in his room. It's a mess.
But then the Leaning Tower of Guardians fell over and trapped the guy who came round to fix our internet. And then we had to...
Because he was right wing.
What?
Because he was a tradesman. He was like, what, darling? And then just boom, The Guardian
and that's enough to kill off the lower class.
What a palaver. That's what it's What a palaver. Oh, the Guardians have toppled. Okay, wow. That's an intense issue to have. Any other obsessions growing up?
I can't think off the top of my head. But you just assume that everything you can be obsessed with, I've been obsessed with at some point.
You were
in my
into
life.
it. Like Pokemon. I'm trying to think, was there any other like big fads?
Did anyone get deceived by stuff on the internet?
Mooch, the man behind the camera.
Yeah, shout out Mooch once again, using your
Mooch.
shoes. If you're wondering who is the man we're able to put our lovely faces on the internet, it is this man right here.
It is Mooch.
Check out Comedy Mooch About.
Yeah, Pogs.
Yes, I used to love Pogs. Yeah, Go-Go's. Do you remember Go-Go's? They were like these little plastic things, like these little faces. I was trying to think what else.
I don't have Pogs. Never had Pogs.
And there's the Beanie Baby fad, and everyone said, stay with the Beanie Babies. That'll be your inheritance. Like that. Where are they now?
They're in Savile Row. They're on Bond Street. Just the baby.
People were honestly
shops.
like, there'll be like comic books or something. There'll be like, first edition Batman. Like, no, I've got like a 2000 Beanie Baby. It's not the same.
I love that. These parents were like, let's buy him this thing, and then
just remortgage the house.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll triple our money.
They read some little tiny article in the Sunday Times, and then they're like, "Where's the Beanie Baby? Have you got it? Good. Okay, you can't play with it anymore. It's ours." Bitcoin. It's the Bitcoin of the 90s.
Yeah. Hype. Overhype.
What was Pogs then? I never had Pogs.
Like these little discs.
Yeah. These little cardboard things.
Yeah, little cardboard discs.
What did you do with them?
Did you stack them?
Was there a game? I don't know.
With a
Oh, that was it. Yeah, that
Smash
was
them
like
with
the
a
slammer
pog
was like the
slammer.
plastic one, and that was yeah. And shinies, you had shinies. The shiny ones.
Making anything
so.
shiny is a surefire way to get kids to buy more of them. That's,
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we should make. We should make a kind of card game based on the British open mic circuit, and we can make shiny ones for people who have
You know how well they
done
would
20s
actually
at
go
the store
down.
or something.
That would actually be like a moneymaker. Like
Yeah.
people would buy the open mic circuit people. They would.
Yeah,
buy
they
it.
would
Like,
love it, mate. Secret rare of dangerous tea.
ADIF cards, we're doing it.
We've already got the Tom Elwes action figure.
Yeah,
in the works.
and
Ali Wood's Aguilar's regular guest T-shirts.
Yeah, and we're going to do ADIF top trump cards, and possibly what else are we going to do? We'll have to have categories for the top trump cards as well, won't we?
Yeah, we'll think about that. If you've got any suggestions for categories, send us in.
Most autistic, Leighton Roth. That would be another one. Shout out to Leighton. Don't worry, I know he's all right. He's fine with it, probably. I don't know.
I was going to do best observational.
That's first off the bat. Well, most autistic obviously is in there.
Leighton, come on, you're a good guy.
Yeah.
Good guy and very autistic.
Yeah.
Shout out friend of the show later.
Shout
Yeah,
out.
I love Leighton.
All right, guys, we're now going to move on to our second story on All I Do Is Fail. And that is the American football fans abuse English women with the same name as a linebacker. So a nice woman named Dee Ford from Kent, unfortunately has the same name as the Kansas City Chief linebacker, who gave away a penalty after being caught offside. She went to bed and woke up with hundreds, if not thousands, of abusive tweets due to her name. It's a classic name mix up on the internet.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that? Have you ever had a name mix up?
Well, my name is Pope, and there's
Well, so that's pretty unique then, I guess.
yeah. My actual, I don't ever reveal my actual name. I like to, name mix up. I'm trying to think. No, I haven't actually. No, I've been all right.
Well, I suppose it's. I mean, if people are looking for the Pope,
they're
not going to look at your photo and be like, "Is that? It's him, isn't it? That is the Pope."
he's younger than I remembered, but he looks like he's got many more tattoos.
Yeah, he's Pope. Well, I mean, this always happens though with stuff, isn't it? Especially with Twitter, it's like who gets there first with the handle, isn't it? So like, I remember when Ryan Giggs, the footballer, retired, and Giggs, the grime artist, came out because he was getting so many like people praising him or slagging him, was just like on Twitter, "Oi, I'm not Giggs, yeah?" That was just like one tweet that went viral. Like he was replying to like one guy, and then it was so good. But that's what everyone. It's the same with John Lewis. You see that the John Lewis ad every year. People always tweet at John Lewis, but that at John Lewis is just a guy in America called John Lewis, who just got there before the shop, and then this year they made an advert with him in it. Because he always
That's nice.
So that was
What? Who was he in the?
He was the John Lewis ad
This year? With Elton John?
No. They made a different one. They made another one, like a follow-up, where he was like replying to all the people who've been tweeting him saying how much they enjoyed the Elton John.
It's all gone too far with this stupid Twitter marketing campaigns, man. We're speaking about it. What they were doing with football players last week. It's just gone like. What happened to a bit of good old-fashioned advertising? I want like Sunny D. It's great. That's
That's where the real morals are. Those
Good
massive advertising campaigns.
Flogging me some shy. I'd accept it. I don't care. Coke, get it down me. I'm in. None of this like we're meant at least back in the 90s, people knew what real advertising was. This is not. Don't try and pretend to be our friends.
Here we are with old man Tom Elwes coming out. Mate, in my day, we had an advert. We listened to it and then it stopped. It didn't follow you around the internet.
There was no interaction with the real people in the 90s. It wasn't like that. It was us and them, and that's how I liked
Celebrities were just them. Celebrities. They didn't talk to you. We didn't talk to them. You watch them on the TV once a week and that with that. That's fun. Do you like Twitter, Pope? Do you like social media and that?
Yeah, Twitter's the one I kind of I do enjoy. I think I was there like at the forefront of Twitter. I was the second person on Twitter.
Pretty humble, but
I've got over 200 followers.
Yeah. I remember though I went through a stage of when I joined Twitter. I was about 17, 18, and I went through a stage of trolling Guardian journalists by telling them they didn't know how to look after their kids properly. I had no like prior knowledge about their parenting, but then people like Caitlin Moran or something would go like, what the fuck? Like, what have you heard about me and my kids? Like, how dare you? I don't know. I just wanted to be noticed, basically. And
that is the issue. Like, I don't blame you. It's just the issue with the internet. It's just like people just want, and it's the same with the girl getting a face tattoo. It's just wanting to be noticed, and people will do anything to do so. I personally wouldn't slag off Guardian journalists and say they don't have to look after their kids.
So niche.
I know. I don't know
what reasoning. What reasoning for not looking after their kids was it? Like
I don't.
You're always late to pick them up from school.
I don't think I've elaborated. So when they would like go like, what are you talking about? I'd go like, you know, you know, and then they would leave an element of doubt. So anyone who was watching was like, wait a minute, maybe they don't look after their kids, but why would they, like, it's such a cruel, horrible thing to do. But I used to do it. But I was a lonely 17-year-old with no friends.
17-year-old Pope lying on your bed just with your phone on your laptop, whatever. You know, mate.
Yeah, you know.
Got him.
You know, in the dead of night, you'll be thinking about
And Boat goes to sleep like they'll be thinking about that all night.
Yeah.
And they probably will, which is the issue with the internet.
Do you regret it now? Or
Massively. I do regret it. Look, I was just stupid 17. It's kind of what a lot of these people who are trolls. They're somehow broken and just crying out for attention. But then when people like Sarah Silverman, she actually engaged with one of them and started talking to them properly. It's like what. Like why do you feel the need to do this like that? And she's actually ended up she opened up a dialogue with this person, and she ended up paying for his medical bills. She found that he was like dying or something.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
was that sorry?
It was Patton Oswalt. That was it.
Patton
Okay,
Oswalt
I thought. Sorry, yeah. And I kind of think if you excavate the psyche of a lot of these people, there's something a little bit broken about them. So
well, like the guy who we had Jacob Hawley on last week, and his troll went from kind of trolling him quite heavily to asking him for naked photos. In a weird switcheroo of I hate you to I want to see your penis.
Anyway, he was like tweeting him going, just rubbing one out to Jacob Hawley.
Oh my god. Yeah. So that is.
I'll tell you.
Pope. That's
and his
so
name was
weird.
Pope Lonergan.
So I think I like just going for talking about myself, what I was like at that point in my life. I was very lonely, and I kind of the weird thing was I would think that okay, by saying like you don't look after your kids properly, they would go like what the hell you talk about, and then I'd go. So can I have a job at the Guardian? Like I was trying to open up a line of communication to get noticed, and then eventually that would turn into a wonderful friendship, and it never did. It never did.
Yeah, surprising that you would start by saying you can't look after your kids.
I mean, people nowadays, you insult them once about how they look after their kids. Suddenly they don't want to know you.
I know. They get us all offended.
I'm only a stranger on the internet. Cut me some slack.
I could be anyone.
Come on.
I'm a decent man.
Twitter's full of them.
Yeah.
Have you ever been trolled yourself?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I actually did. But
Guardian journalists coming back in.
Quite a few Guardian journalists.
1 star every time.
Exactly. Yes. 4 star in the Evening Standard. 1 star in Guardian. What was that?
Livid.
It was what's her name? She used to be in 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps.
Wait, you're saying someone in 2 pints of lager and a packet of twists is your troll?
Well, no, she. I wrote as she. It wasn't. She replied to Sheridan Smith. That's it. She replied to something that she wrote. This really kind of self-involved thing when Amy Winehouse died. It was like a tweet to kind of commemorate Amy Winehouse, but it seemed very
make it about them. Classic.
Yeah. It seemed very much about her rather than. So I kind of said that, and then like all of her follows like piling on. I've had it quite a few times. There was another one. Oh yeah, someone from Towie. I can't remember. I think I got into a back and forth with her. I said that she has like a divot in her head, so it looks like someone's played golf on her forehead or something like that. And then because she had mentioned something about me first, and then she started chucking up like loads of.
Wait. So just out of the blue, you got a tweet from someone from Towie?
No, it was like an initial. It was an initial thing that I'd replied to something they'd said, but not in a horrible way or anything. Just a thing to it.
Wait, so you hadn't said that she looked like she had a dent in her?
No, I said that not at the. That wasn't my opening opening line.
Okay.
I was initially saying something just like normal, like
Just like you
normal
can't look
exchange.
after your kids.
Yeah, it's like that,
standard,
friendly,
standard Pope
like
opener.
a good like
Just making friends.
Yeah.
just a good like party opening.
Yeah.
And then
Don't bring Pope to your house parties.
Yeah. What
Can't
are you
look
doing
after
at this
kids.
party, mate? Where are your kids? Yeah.
Hi Mary, you can't look after.
You think this is acceptable?
So
Children
we
at
were
home.
drinking tonight. Irresponsible
Yeah.
parents. And then she posted up a picture, said Billy Goat Gruff, like look, who's this Billy Goat Gruff
Oh,
cunt, like that.
mate.
And then she started obviously found pictures of me and posted up pictures of me like during my like peak drug years.
Yeah.
And it became
Wow.
this weird,
And what, she was like posting the pictures of you on the Twitter.
Yeah,
What was her name?
I don't know if that's right, legally speaking.
Whatever happened,
it was the one who's the one is it Lauren Pope or
Lauren Pope.
Yeah, maybe that's what
Weird
we were connecting
name
about.
connection.
Yeah. Or was it?
Only room for
I
one
can't remember
Pope.
which one.
I honestly
Yeah.
don't know. I know Amy Charles.
That's the only one I
No,
know.
it wasn't her.
So we'll say Lauren Pope for the time being.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was one of them. I can't remember.
Right.
Which one it
So
was,
she
yeah.
started uploading photos of you on her.
Like she obviously found like just on my Twitter, like you just press media and obviously see photos I posted before, and I think she misinterpreted something I'd wrote, and then she like went like, "What? Look at who the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
And
And then you had a pop at her. Did you have a pop back?
Yeah. It was like a little like tete-a-tete. It was like a little.
Oh,
back and
really?
forth. Yeah.
Like we could get.
And then you eventually
Wow.
went, "Can I have a job in town?"
Yeah. Please.
Wait,
please.
can you get me on? I'll be
Well,
good.
Yeah, I'm a laugh. Come on,
Yeah.
I'm
Let's
a
do this
laugh
on
from
TV.
Essex.
Yeah.
We got great rapport.
Yeah. I'll be a welcome.
Yeah. So there.
I've got 4 stars in the Evening Standard, and people describe it as a toilet door. So
Yeah.
going all the way, Towery material.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That has been the end of the news.
Yes.
Okay, Pope. We are now going to move on to Fail of Your Life, starring Pope Lonergan. Pope, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I've got. I'll do. Yeah. Okay. So the first time the failure of my life is basically being a drug addict. And
Solid.
And the genesis of I exhibited signs of addiction from like a really early age, but the first ever time I took drugs was I took ecstasy. It was moments. So I'd been drinking for quite a while prior to university. Then the first day at university, like my mum and dad came down, helped me unload my stuff. My housemates, mum and dad came down, they helped him unload his stuff, and literally seconds that my mum and dad left, he went, "Do you want to do pills?" I went, "Yeah, that'd be lovely. Thank you very much."
And he's not a doctor.
And we did ecstasy together.
Well, so is this in the afternoon? Just
this was like
what university is this?
This was like 3:15 in the afternoon.
You got induction in 45 minutes.
This is the University of Life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Was it a crack house you were going to? University.
Your parents kindly like, right, Pope, get out of the house now.
It was like 3:15 in the afternoon, and this was one of those guys. You get them guys that they seem a bit alpha. He was quite tanned, obviously looked after himself, and you kind of you're like, can you be my dad? Like,
get it all the time.
and so
classic Elwes.
And so he was one of those, and he was like, I bought like a big bag of pills for me. Like, do you want to do one? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And
your first time?
Yeah, that was my first time doing anything like that. And yes, I took ecstasy. But it was this weird kind of like, it's not like we took ecstasy and then went out and like partied. We took ecstasy and like tidied up the house, and it was this weird like domestic arrangement where we were just like doing chores.
So it really was like your dad then.
We were doing chores, but just like in a buzzy way, right?
Like, oh, I love baking.
Yeah.
Then we
Did you have music on?
No, we didn't have any music on. We were just doing chores. Then we watched a box set of the Bottom Live DVDs, and then I spent the rest of the evening. So you get that water. Have you done pills, guys? Yeah. So you get that water where you can't piss. Actually, your dick goes like a stack of shirt buttons. It goes like really like Malteser in a foreskin.
What a way with words again. Malteser in a foreskin.
Yeah, like really taut, like little taut. Becomes like a taut little baby dick. Like becomes like.
Who have you been talking to, Pope?
Babies. I've been asking them about their dicks. So it becomes
what are your parents like? What are your parents like?
Exactly.
Where are your parents, babies?
Mate, exactly. Yeah. You're a terrible kid, mate. You know that. You're not looking after your parents.
So then I had that, and like I couldn't urinate, I couldn't piss, and it was driving me mad. And we were like sitting in the garden, and I remember using tweezers as urethral forceps to try and... So I like opened up my Jap's eye using tweezers to try and empty any like little driplet of urine from my penis.
Kids, this is a great example of why, ecstasy, it's not for everyone, right?
Don't do drugs. Yeah.
Otherwise, you will be at 3:30 in the afternoon with tweezers down your penis.
Yeah.
You can have fun cleaning the house without pills, guys.
Yeah.
So enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
And a lot of my drug taking experiences were in a similar sort of vein.
So you did that for the first time, came down, tweezers were involved.
Yeah.
Then were you just like, you want to get back on it straight away?
Yeah. And the next I was like, okay, let's get back on it again. Got back on it again and watched Blue Planet. Watched loads of
that is a solid drug taking. Yeah. I've been in and around, and Blue Planet is regularly
on. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. And I'd kind of like sometimes walk into, so then I'd try and have like a break from the pills and have like a wholesome weekend or whatever, and I'd go up to Winchester, and it's like cathedral town, and like very like little like kids walking along with canes.
Do acid.
And so I went to Winchester and smashed up a cathedral on speed. Yeah.
So you'd have these weekends away where you just remove yourself.
Yeah, and kind of just stick to normal.
But when you were there, were you like missing it, or did you enjoy it?
No, well, yeah, because I think, because I don't, as a drug addict, I don't take drugs in the normal way. I don't think I'll do a couple of lines and, just enjoy myself. It's like whenever I would go to parties, I'd have like the party boy gram of like, oh, look, I'm sharing this around, like Mr. Party Boy, let's all in this together. But then I'd have like 5 grams tucked away on my own.
Just for you.
Just for me. And then I'd go into the bathroom and... because I didn't want people to hear me snorting, because then they'd go like, oh, like what you got? You got drugs, mate? Can you share? I would put a black plastic bag around myself to muffle the sound of me snorting, and just sit in a bag snorting grams on my own.
Wow.
And what a fun life!
Drug addiction. It does push you to the edge. And
I'm sure it's happened to more people, and I'm sure you've met those sort of people who've had similar sort of things.
It was just always. That was kind of always the problem. And whenever I wasn't a social drug user, I'd kind of go to that environment initially because that's where you procure the drugs. But I was always looking forward to just going home on my own, and or with just a friend or a couple of intimates, and doing the drugs on my own. Yeah, and I remember there was a weird stage I went through. I kind of got a like chemical psychosis. Yeah. I thought the IRA were after me for some reason. I don't know why.
Old school.
Yeah.
I know. It's very like dated.
I mean, bear in mind, during the height of IRA, I was like not even a twinkle in my dad's nutsack. I was nothing. It was like at the 1980s. I was 1989 baby.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's such an interesting kind of dated psychosis.
Good. Okay.
And then I.
So how did you get away from the IRA and your like what? How did that affect your? How did that affect your?
Well, okay, there's one I told this on the podcast recently. I accidentally held my housemate hostage on this when I was going through psychosis, and I still have no remnants of memory from what happened. I apparently parked. So my bedroom door was there. His bedroom door was there. I parked out, put a camping chair up outside my room, and just sat there really passively. But every time he tried to emerge from his room, I went like, no, like that, and smacked his door with a cricket bat.
Wow.
And like he was in his room.
Did you think he was the IRA?
I don't know. I don't remember it. I honestly have no, like it happened. Like I trust my mate completely. I have no recollection of it whatsoever. It's really odd time in my life. And I remember I went through a stage of, like, we talk about the hoarding and stuff like that. I remember I went through a stage of, I initially started for pragmatic or practical reasons. I had like a Coke bottle in my room behind the desk, and I didn't want to go upstairs because my housemate was a bit nutty, this girl I lived with.
She was the one.
Yeah. I mean,
cricket bat on the cam seat is so someone's obviously got to pay the bills. I have to do all that, and I've got to guard the corridor.
I mean,
and she's off here trying to meet friends.
Yeah, I'm trying to take care of the IRA.
Yeah,
and
some of us have things to do.
I was warding off the IRA and doing hostage taking. You know, that was on the itinerary.
You do that, and I'll do the heating.
Yeah.
Why was she nutty?
Because she used to like cry and have a breakdown over burnt chips. She
you were like, look, the IRA are coming. You
can't be worried about chips, guys. They
won't just be the chips burning if we go.
I started like pissing. I just piss in this like 2 litre bottle.
Yeah,
right?
2 litre. That's good.
I'd piss in it, and then.
What do you mean? You'd piss in it and then it would stay there?
Yes.
Oh,
okay,
so this was the
problem.
That's very niche. Good aim.
I kind of just put the tip on.
Okay.
I had a routine.
Yeah.
And I'd piss, and I should have like.
Remember also, listeners, this is coming from the more normal housemate.
This is the sane housemate.
I had a routine for pissing into my coat bottle. Thank you, sir.
She was just crying and pissing up the walls.
Yeah, crying over some burnt chips, or she just got broken up with, or something. I don't know. I wasn't really listening.
I'm a very rational piss accumulator. Yeah. And so I'd piss in this bottle, and like I should empty it, but in a while it got to the point where there was so much piss in there that I was kind of proud of the amount of piss, but then it left it so long that you can, when you like cut through rocks and you can see like the gradation of the rocks, like igneous, like these rock go back here. The piss became like that, where it was browning off from the amount of piss that has accumulated in this 2 litre Coke bottle, right? So there's old dirty piss, a big bottle of old dirty piss, right? But rather than thinking, okay, this is shameful, what the fuck is going on there? Like, why am I keeping hold of this? When I would like bring people back to my house, I'd go,
look at my big
look at my big bottle of piss. How's that for a party piece? Look at that, guys. And like
a party piss, is that the piss resistance? Thank you, Mooch.
I would like.
Well, what a house that must have been to come round to.
Come round, guys. Let's have a look at my big 2 litre bottle of piss. Yeah.
Wow.
So this was the headspace I was.
How long were you living with your piss?
So I think that one was like a couple of months, and then I emptied it. Started again.
With tears in your eyes, leaving the nest.
Well, it's like Dali, Salvador Dali.
Yeah, it's exactly like it. Well, it's the same level of art.
Yeah.
Salvador Dali used to...
Dali, my big Coke piss bottle.
Famously.
Yeah, no, that's not up and down. I love that you just...
the transaction from Big Piss to Dali.
It's just like Dali, mate.
Yeah.
Sorry, my apologies. You clearly know more about Dali. Why? How's it like Dali?
So Dali used to cry every time he flushed away his feces. He used to cry every time. So like Dali.
Yeah.
Actually, I think you'll find it.
We're the fucking idiots.
Excuse me, guys.
So you're saying you guys didn't have piss bottles? Because it's a bit weird. I'm trying to make art here.
Darling. And I remember. I think it went back to like I remember when I was younger. I don't know if I said this at the last Pope's Addiction clinic, but when I was younger, I used to think like a robust piss stream was a sign of virility. So if I had like a big old piss, anyone hearing would go, "Oh, big knob over here. Oh, go big piss, big knob."
What, so you would purposely try and have big pisses?
Yeah, that's what. Whenever there was like a girl in when
I'm entertaining,
my piss is gonna be real loud.
Yeah, I'd force out a big if there's a girl in earshot. I was like 13. I'd like force out a big piss because I think she'd go like, a bit like Billy Big Bollocks over here, big manly big piss like that. But they
should be looking at the piss bottle at the same time, going, "That's from a big knob."
Yeah. So,
have you seen the amount of piss he produces? Look at that, 2 litres of piss. That's my kind of man.
Oh, lucky.
Mum, Dad, I met this guy, and you're going to love him. He's a very strong pisser.
It reverberated around the room when he pissed.
He's a very big pisser. He's going to be the father of my children. Big piss over me. So I would piss so much. Sometimes I'd force out so much that I actually ended up perforating my bladder.
Jesus.
Wow. So sorry. I'm not... You're not a person who normally I ask for even more detail, but What is perforating the bladder? What happens?
So when you perforate the bladder, you kind of get your bladder gets a weakness, and then it gets like a perforation, like a thing in it where the urine leaks out. And you get like an infection. Yeah. So I say this stuff now.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm looking back and going, oh yeah, I can see the logic. I'm looking back thinking, what the fuck are you, young Pope? Like, what the hell? I don't know what.
So I think that's important that you've learned. Yeah. Like it's you can talk about this stuff now and you can laugh about it because it was just a different space and a different not a different person, but psychologically a very different space.
Yeah. And how much of this sort of behaviour do you think was like because of the drugs? Was it pretty much all of it, or
I know I was always quite an idiosyncratic kid with stuff. But when I went to rehab, I realised you do a lot of analysis and stuff like that, group therapy. I realised that all the oddities. I was a bit of an eccentric kid, and all the weird kind of behaviour I had. It was like, it's all addiction. Like I was just a fucking addict.
I mean, even when you talk about having a friend's book and insane knowledge, like that sounds like it's addictive personality that you have straight out.
That's the thing. Like that obsessive traits, you become very like controlling with stuff. And I would isolate myself a lot to control my environment. And I remember I would do it with wrestling figures. So I loved wrestling, and I would like have loads.
Who's your favourite?
Mankind, Mick Foley, obviously. Fair. I liked all the weird ones like Al Snow and Head. I liked all the oddballs. The oddballs, yeah. And I remember I had loads of wrestling figures, and I would like when we went away, we went to Florida. I was lucky enough to go to Florida, like my mum and dad saved, and we went to Disneyland. And I remember I had a book of all the matches that were going to take place during this week on holiday. Wow. Like this is during this SummerSlam. Like this is the matches my wrestling figure was going to have. There was these big elaborate storylines I had.
So you made all of it?
I'd made all of it. It was all in my head, and it was like these like ongoing storylines. But my brother, he's a like real boisterous person. He's like a rugby player and stuff like that. He would like grab the box and go like water wrestling, and I'd go like, no, it's not time for Undertaker's water aerobics, Ben. You're ruining it. You're ruining it. And he'd throw all my wrestling figures into the pool. And to avoid that, I remember sitting in a 3 foot by 3 foot shoe cupboard with a pendulum light bulb, like sweating, but thinking like at least it's all under control. Like treating the wrestling figures like my own terracotta army. Like
safe now.
Like, don't worry, lads. We're in this together. We're safe now. We can stick to the schedule of matches. Ben won't be here anymore. I'd be like very controlling in that way. So, that's the kind of fun kid I was. Yeah.
No, but it's interesting psyche, and it's especially with. You can see how addiction, like some people are way more susceptible to it just through the kind of person that they are. Yeah. And it's why it really is an addiction. And we've spoken a lot about drugs on ADIF, and like we're both pretty understanding of it. And I'm
in different forms as well. I think me and Tom are both of the opinion. We were talking with Jacob as well about it. It's like if you want to go and try drugs and do stuff, then it's your life, and you should enjoy it best you can. But you just got to be safe, and just got to do it in environments you feel comfortable.
Yeah, and it's being mindful of the motivation behind it. So I always say to people, if you're taking drugs, really try. If you can't ever satiate your appetite, or you can never feel fulfilled at the end of the night unless you keep putting drugs in your system, you're an addict. Like, you're not doing drugs. For the right reason.
Nothing good happens past 4 a.m, kids. So if you are asking to get more drugs past 4 a.m, that's only going to lead to taking more drugs. Nothing else. Remember.
I remember.
You really want to be buzzed when McDonald's.
I remember like going to like lecture. I'd done a lecture on pills, and I had my hat on, and I had like my coat buttoned up. I was like saucer-eyed, like sweating. I'd done this presentation.
Wait, we need some context to why you were
university.
Right,
at university.
You did a what's it called?
Like a seminar.
Lecture.
Oh, but on ecstasy?
On pills. I was
Wait, you were on pills?
You were on, sorry, I thought you meant you were talking about pills.
No, sorry.
Oh, okay. So you dropped and then went and did a...
No, I dropped, so I was on the kind of the slight come down, but still really buzzy. And I remember I had like this hat, like dog-eared hat on, my coat like buttoned up, like sweating profusely, saucer-eyed, doing pills. And and I remember that we would kind of stay up for like 4 or 5 days and go like in the early hours of the morning, go from house to house to house, and it just wasn't fun anymore.
It's a horrible space. Here we go. All right, Ali's about to have a go at me, but in Tom Ellis's shoehorn in material segment, right? I have a bit. It's a true story about me going on. I went on a date, and I went on through a weird circumstances, ended up thinking I was going to a rave night, but actually it ended up not to be a rave night and actually to be a 3-course dinner, like urban dining experience in like a library, right? So I sat down at a candlelit table opposite this girl. I'd already taken the pills because I took them on the way in, thinking like I don't want to get searched on the way in. Took them, right? I'm sat down at this dinner, and then like obviously half an hour later they kick in, and I'm on like a fucking rocket ship to Mars, and like they're bringing out food and stuff, and like my eyes are like like this. So I remember thinking like, how do I combat this? Like I need to combat this. Like I can't let her know that I'm on pills. So I was like, all right, I'll just squint the whole meal. So I sat opposite her, I'm just squinting at her, like that. And then like obviously like I just remember so clearly, and this is obviously like, but like I just remember so clearly like with my hand, I had my hand up here and I was doing it like this, right, for like fucking ages. And I remember looking at my hand, just being like, how long have I been doing that? And I was just like
your fingers of war.
It's like,
you think you're being classy, but you're like got blood running down your hand. Isn't it weird how like when you do pills, you have like really great opinions? Like when you do or coke, or you're suddenly you're like the best version of yourself.
I just remember like I was happy, but also like terrified, and I was just like I've never overthought every single word coming out of my mouth so much in my entire life. But also, I don't know, it's a very weird space.
Well, there's like James Joyce, he wrote like Ulysses, and they're like notoriously impenetrable book. And then he wrote Finnegan's Wake, which was just to the far extreme of what's like you just could like every like word has about 50 different meanings. So you're going to need to read about 50 books around it just to decipher like a couple of paragraphs. It's unbelievable. And that constellation of like neural activity, that's what you have like when you take pills. Like you overthink absolutely everything. Everything's got myriad thoughts behind. It's like in a day,
paranoia stuff.
And also where you want to start businesses when taking amphetamine.
I've started
a lot of t-shirt companies. A lot of t-shirt companies have been started. I'm going all the way.
I've arranged like holiday trips with absolute strangers. I started a stationery business. Like we were,
the high flying life of stationery business.
Guys, it's like stationery but really good. Like
it's like stationery but Uber. You know what I mean?
It's a subscription service for stationery. You'll never run out.
Drugs is kind of. I'm good. I'm like good. Like I'm clean now. Like I'm really.
How long you been clean up?
For about 5 months, I think. So I actually had like 8 months or 9 months sobriety, and then I smoked crack cocaine and didn't come off the wagon completely. I had like it was a minor relapse, and then I kind of relapsed intermittently. But weirdly enough, the stuff that really mucked up my life was like prescription opioids, like morphine and oxycodone and the hydrocodone.
Huge problem at the moment. And not only in America but also stretched into this country as well.
Absolutely, and it's so weird. Like the access when you know how to kind of game the system. So there's certain things that like controlled substances that are quite hard to get hold of. Okay, I'm going to have to talk around what I'm about to say next for actual legal reasons, right? Mm-hmm. I know of a guy who worked in an elderly care home, and he would never deprive them of their drugs. You know, these are people who are terminally ill, saying they really need it. They're in a lot of pain. He would never deprive them of that. But he found a loophole to sort of like preserve his moral compass, is that when they die, the stuff gets written off as wastage. So he would just raid the medicine cabinet and just like in their memory down a bottle of liquid oxycodone or morphine. So I knew a guy who did that, but I kind of avoided that legal minefield.
Which Guardian journalist was it?
Oh yeah.
Just going, oh wow.
Yeah. And then even with lesser stuff like dihydrocodeine, dihydrocodeine, like you could take 8 and it would you'd overdose in it, you kill it. I was taking 50 in one go. I was taking 50.
50?
Yeah, 50 in one go. You build up a tolerance. So and even that wouldn't get me that high. It would I'd take 50. I'd need more and more and more and more and more. And the way you can do it is there's these websites where you can do an online consultation. They're qualified doctors who are issuing this out, but obviously ones that are morally questionable. And you just do an online consultation. You just go, I'm an 86-year-old with fibromyalgia. Please give me. And they
don't have to Skype you or anything.
No, this is the thing. There's no face-to-face. No, they don't check your medical record. And there's things like they always say we guarantee discretion. And then they would have a thing like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And then it would say, do you want us to ask your doctor if it's okay for this, and rather than yes, no, it's say no, yes. So it's kind of going know which one to click.
Wow.
And so then DPD and Royal Mail become unwitting drug mules because they're the ones who deliver this stuff, thinking it's going to an 86-year-old with bone disease, but it's going to me to sit there and sit at home and watch Game of Thrones. Yeah.
For the record, listeners. And many of our young listeners, don't do any of this. Please do not do any of this. Pope is an example of kind of how you can game the system, but the repercussions of this are terrible.
Well, the reason I wouldn't actually say this stuff, giving people pointers. The reason I'm saying it now is because finally CQC, the Care Quality Commission, have tightened regulations on this. They've figured out what's going on. That probably a large part of these online pharmacies is going to drug addicts. So now they've tightened up regulations, saying no, you need to have a face-to-face consultation. They need to get medical records from your doctor in order to issue this stuff. So it's good. It's really good. They're
cool. Well done, CQC.
Well done, CQC.
Yeah, well done.
Shout out CQC.
Yeah. So
right, Pat. Have you got any other fails you wish to share?
I'll just quickly. So I did a. So basically, where I do this stuff about crack, about wound dipping, about accidentally breaking a woodlouse's pregnancy sac when I was 6 years old and shoving a bar of soap up my arse as a form of self-flagellation. Right, this is my normal material.
We've heard it before, Pope, mate. Every guest comes on here, says the old self-flagellation with the bar soap. Come on, give us something.
Woodlouse sacks.
If you want to hear woodlouse sacks, we can just turn on the internet. Everywhere. Okay.
It's all the relatable stuff. And I got invited to do a comedy tent at a festival. We didn't really know what to expect. Turned out that most of the audience were children, and I didn't change my set in the slightest. I didn't change. The only thing I changed up is rather than say anus, I said the word bum to make it a bit more kid-friendly.
Wait, Joe. Yeah. Wait, can we get a bit of context for so you get invited to do the festival?
Yeah.
What was the festival called?
It was a festival in Kent. I think it was called Never.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neverland.
Yeah.
Okay, Neverland.
Not a great festival.
Yeah.
Not a great festival.
And it's a big tent? Or?
No. Like a kind of small wigwam. Basically.
A wigwam,
yeah, pretty much.
With just kids sat.
With just kids, right? Well, this is
just kids, wow.
Kids, but some of their parents were there. But some of the kids, I was like, "Oh, where's your parents, guys?"
They're writing for the Guardian.
Yeah, they're right. They're too busy guardianing it up.
It's got columns there.
Yeah.
I knew it. Yeah. You know, mate.
So, what's your dad's name and what's his handle?
Yeah.
I'm coming for it.
I've validated my 17-year-old self. I knew it.
Yes.
So they were, but weirdly enough, the kids actually loved it. The kids were really sweet, lovely kids, and I sort of said to the rest of the comics, I think you don't want to corrupt their innocence, you don't want to ruin their minds, but you're giving them a space to transcend normal societal norms. So you're allowing them to be a bit naughty and have a.
So you did all the stuff about self-flagellation and wound dipping?
Yeah, but I made it a bit. So I did stuff. So I went, oh, kids, do you know the game Fortnite? And they were like, yeah, we love it, Fortnite. I was like, oh, do you love it so much that you have to play it all the time? And they're like, yeah. I was like, that's drug abuse, kids. That's drug abuse. That's your first entry point into a life of drug addiction. And then it's
sort of like this kind of, what's the PSHE teacher in Mean Girls? It's like, do not have sex because you will die.
Because you will get someone pregnant and you will die.
Yeah. And so that's how I talked about drug abuse. And then I asked them, I went like, what did you do if you accidentally broke a woodlouse's pregnancy sac? And they were like, oh, I don't know, like hold its hand, take it to the vet, saying lovely. And I was like, yeah, well, I shoved a bar of soap deep into my anus as a form of
you said bum though, didn't you?
Yeah, it said bum. So I said I shoved it deep into my bum. And they were like, what, you shoved a bar of soap up your bum? I was like, yeah, I shoved it deep in there to punish myself for breaking a woodlouse's pregnancy sac. I was like,
good night.
Yeah. They were like, no, they were like 7.
You should just ask the beginning here, how old were these kids expecting him to be like, oh, like, 16 or something? He's like, nah. Like,
yeah, no, they were young. And there's actual video footage of this as well. So
Uh,
you're actually a man at 7, So.
But no, do you know the weird?
We all shoved a soap bar somewhere by the age of 7.
But do you know the weird thing is, like, parents actually did. They said like we were worried, like this, like when you started saying these things, we were really worried, like, oh God, like what on earth are our kids watching? But they said the way you navigated it, like the way you spoke to them as well and came down to the level, they said actually it worked in a weird sort of way. It didn't, like I was mindful of certain things. Like there was a routine about when my ex-girlfriend, the third hour of us meeting, she was wanking me off while smashing my face into a headboard. And the thing is the wanking off part lasted only about 30 seconds, but the headboard part continued for quite a while afterwards.
What was the dynamic?
And so
and how did that go down with the kids?
So I was gonna tell
Loved
that.
It, yeah.
So I started telling that one, but then I was like, no, this is a realm I don't want these kids to be exposed to just yet. So I decided to take that one off the.
Just out of interest with the headboard wanking scenario, how did that go about? Why was the head being thrust into
because she used to want me to strangle her, and she would want to like beat me up and stuff like that, and there's a bit of that, and I was like, I weren't really into it, but I thought I'd go along with it. And I remember she was like smashing my face with a thing and like wanking me off, but then she stopped, like the sexual part like stopped and ceased, and then she was just like smashing my face into a headboard. I was like, okay, this is actually just she's just fighting me now. Like, it's not sexual anymore. She just really wants to inflict pain upon me. Yeah.
Wow, fair enough. Right, have you got any other fellas you wish to share?
No. Yeah, I think we've covered all the bases.
I think we've covered all the bases. Right, guys, this has been one hell of an All I Do Is Fail. This has been one hell of an All I Do Is Fail.
I feel like we really didn't get to know you, though, Pope.
You didn't
we like people to open up on this, and you're a bit guarded. You know what I mean?
Thank you for having me again, guys.
No,
I really appreciate it.
Honestly, thank you for coming down. Pope, is there anything you'd like to plug before we go?
No, just keep a lookout for Pope's Addiction Clinic. I do it sort of all around London, and follow me on @TheDailyBumbler on Twitter, where I'll be abusing Guardian journalists about their parenting.
And having rows with Towie.
Towie Cast. Do look out for Pope's Addiction Clinic. It's really, really good. Like as we said, 4-star review in the Evening Standard. Really, really great show. Right, for me, get me on @TomElwes and follow us @AdifPod and Ali.
Yep, @AliWizGigs. Check us on YouTube as well. All I Do Is Fail podcast on YouTube. I've still got a lot of tickets to sell for this show, 3rd of March, guys. So if any of you want to come down 7 p.m. in Waterloo on a Sunday, please do.
He's actually getting desperate now, guys. So
there's Ali's an incredible performer. Please,
thank you very much.
The Adif Comics, please get your butts in gear. The other thing we can also plug is we were starting Adif Night. We are starting the All I Do Is Fail Comedy Night at Vauxhall Comedy Club. Mm-hmm. This will be running the first one, 3rd of March.
No, that's 5th of March, Tuesday, 5th of March in Fire. Just outside, I suppose it's just in the garden next to Fire nightclub, just by Vauxhall Station, part of Vauxhall Comedy Club night. So All I Do Is Fail night on the Tuesday. It'll be run by me and Tom, and we'll get some guests down as well, and it'll be a fantastic night. So please look out for it. If you want to get tickets, then you can, I think.
Probably soon.
Probably soon. You
Probably
can
soon.
get that's from
Yeah.
Mooch. Mooch is the man who runs the venue, so man, check him out as well. Thursdays, Comedy Mooch About, get him down there. It's a great night. Me and Tom have both performed there.
Yep, amazing. We're doing big things are going on down at Vauxhall Comedy Club, guys. Yeah.
Big failures going on down there. So
Right, guys, this has been amazing. Thank you very much, Pope.
Thank you,
very
Pope.
much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Cheers, Ali. Bye.